Hello everyone, welcome to another Professionally Unprofessional. I'm joined once again by my good friends Reese in the middle and Elliot on the right.
Hello everyone.
Hello, welcome to the Monologue Tangent Show, where we hear Calvin do monologues and we have to endure it.
Okay, we've got 6 games to cover because we've been off a long time, so we won't dawdle on too much. 2 games we're not covering because they only released the day before we recorded this are Lego Horizon and Dragon Quest HD 2D. We haven't had time to get our hands on them. So we'll talk about those next month. So I'll start off with. So let's get straight into it then. I reckon. Start off with the game we actually really we tried to get out last month, but we delayed it, and probably was a good thing we delayed it because it allowed us to have a lot more time with it. Metaphor ReFantazio. It's available.
Hey.
It's available on just about everything except Switch. It's the joint second highest scoring game of the year, only behind Elden Ring DLC.
Superiority.
And it's tied with Astrobot at the minute.
And don't forget to mention it's by Atlas as well, the team behind Persona.
Yeah, Atlas, and it is a lot of the Persona team working on it. It is this. Yeah. I believe it's the director of Persona 3, 4, and 5 working on this one. And it's weird because we were hearing about this project for ages, like this project Metaphor, and it's now come to fruition. Reese, you haven't had a chance to play it because you've had so much on.
Yeah.
Elliot, you were playing the PC version, I believe.
Yeah.
I've been playing it on Xbox Series X, which I think is one of the better ways to play it, with the quick resume feature you get on Xbox, considering how long some of the dungeons are. I'm going to start with your thoughts, Elliot, because this is 94 on Metacritic. What do you think of it from what you've played?
I think it's really good.
I have to agree with you. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a phenomenal RPG. I'll be very interested how it feels like they've taken a whole bunch of things from other Atlas RPGs and merged them all in together for this one package.
Oh, you mean like Shin Megami Tensei? Which this is a spin-off of.
There's a bit of Shin Megami Tensei, there's a bit of Persona. There's even bits of things like they obviously looked at how some of the dungeon design and progress you get in Persona 5's 5 Strikers. There's a bit
again. You say, "Oh, it's just like this game, which is a spin-off of." It's difficult.
It's difficult to say don't talk about Persona when this thing is very much linked to the Persona games.
I mean, it's because it's kind of obvious.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of comments under reviews saying, "Stop comparing to Persona. This is its own thing." I'm like saying, how do you not compare this to Persona? This is so. It's built very similar. It has some of the same spells as Persona. Like, I'm pretty sure that the fire, ice, and lightning magic have the exact same names as the versions in Persona.
They don't.
So
I'm fairly certain they don't.
And exposed.
I swear they did, though. I swear it's like Blitz in Persona 5. I mean, I could be wrong on that one, but you've got to admit it is. And of course, I didn't think. Now, I'm going to ask a couple of things about this game, Elliot.
No, it's called Aggie.
Okay. Oh yeah, now I remember. Yes.
See, this is why we do our research before we do our podcast.
Yeah.
That's why I don't make.
I've been saying this for a while. I've been thinking this for a while. I'll say it now. Calvin is basically that one drunk uncle at Thanksgiving.
So how?
I'm gonna tell you about my opinions. You're gonna shut up and listen. I don't care if you just wanna go off and watch SpongeBob. You're gonna listen to me.
How do you think it fares up as with the other RPGs that have come out this year?
Kind of tough to say. I think it's up there with Infinite Wealth as one of the best, though.
I think it's. I mean, the big bar I had for RPGs this year was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That one was fantastic. I think in many ways I like this more than Rebirth.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, from what I've heard, Rebirth is fairly flawed.
Rebirth has some flaws, but I liked it in spite of its flaws. This one has. I think what I like about Metaphor is one thing I really like about Metaphor is they nailed the narrative. Like, no spoilers, but they've really nailed the narrative of the game, and especially considering that they're going to a very different sort of setting. Like, this is not your typical Persona setting, which meant they could do more variety of characters, they could do more variety of plot lines. Like the equivalent of I did all of the social links. By the end of it, I maxed out all of them. Just to check, Elliot, how far are you into this at the minute?
I'm like 35 hours. I'm just about to get to the final confrontation with Luis, which I'm fairly certain is not the final confrontation.
When you look at that and you see 35 hours, you're like, yeah, that's not going to be... Yeah, I was in the exact one as you.
55 hours, not 35.
Oh,
but God, it's been up for a month. If I only put in 35 hours, that will be confirmed I do not deserve this job.
But I do like I like the character. Luis actually will say he's a great antagonist.
He's basically this world's Griffith.
Yeah, he's kind of a cross between Griffith and Shido from Persona 5. It's the best way. He kind of does have a lot of similar qualities to Shido, like the corruption, his sense that he's the only solution to the problems of the nation. I think my big... I also think, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, the dungeons are excellent in this game.
I think they're good, but they're definitely not as varied as I think games like Persona 5 are.
Yeah,
because like all of them are just like big labyrinth.
Yeah, no, you're certainly not doing as much puzzles or stuff like that you did with Persona 5, and they're not as tied into the narratives. Like in Persona 5, like the second dungeon, for example, you can't go any further, so you need to affect the outside world before you can go further. So you have to plan your time around that. I was actually speaking to someone. Do you mind if
I also think the dungeons are a bit too short. It's sort of a similar issue you have with Persona 3. You can go through these in like a couple of in-game days.
Yeah, like it's 2 or 3 in-game days at most.
With the third one, I did that in one day.
Well, the third one, yeah, you could easily do the third one in one day. It's not much to it, really. That's actually a big problem I have with the third dungeon. It's like there's no point to this. This dungeon is so insignificant. There's no point to it existing. You might as well just had this lead straight into the boss fight.
You might as well just have it kind of like as a stealth mission.
Yeah, but
I get like as a one-off stealth mission rather than have it be a full dungeon.
I'm not a fan of those kind of beat this character in so many turns fights you get in RPGs. I'm not a fan of that one.
I didn't mind it. I saw it as a puzzle.
Yeah, no,
you have to figure out the optimal strategy to beat this guy quickly. It's just because you just want to hit them with stick.
Well, look, I didn't like the fact they removed weaknesses up until for that one. That one was that made it a bit annoying. I mean, I'd bought all the intel prior to that, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But even then, it was a bit the first one was a bit difficult to figure out. That one took me a couple of goes. Okay, I'm gonna. One thing I don't like about Metaphor. Okay, I can say something I don't like about Metaphor is. The final boss is awful.
I've not gotten that far.
Obviously not. Obviously you haven't got that far. I would really welcome you getting back in touch with me after you beat the final boss to say if I'm on side with this one. But put it this way, I was playing the game on normal difficulty all the way until the final boss.
Quick question. Was the final boss at the end of a dungeon?
Yes and no.
What do you mean yes and no?
Well, I can't say anything about giving away a plot point, but put it this way.
Because if it was at the end of a dungeon, they always have like a save room before the boss.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Could have just quit out, because your complaint was that, I ran out of MP. You could quit out, regain MP, and then go back in.
No, that's not an option with the final boss. You do start it with full HP and MP, but it's one of the... How do I put this? Do you ever read the... this is going to sound really a tangent. Do you ever read the comic Calvin and Hobbes?
No, because I'm not 63.
Well, basically, in that one, the character creates a game called Calvin Ball, and basically what happens is every time he's losing, he changes the rules so that he's actually winning. It's that kind of boss fight, and it was so bad I had to turn it down to the lowest difficulty to beat it.
So bad, or you just weren't good at it?
I'd done every single side mission apart from the 3 optional bosses. Super bosses.
Well, that's why I should have done those bosses.
The 3 optional super bosses, which were really hard. And I'd been grinding non-stop. I have no idea how. Like, you said it yourself, actually, when we were first getting the game. You were looking at like the daily logs and seeing what level some people were at in the dungeons. Like, how the hell did they get to that level? Incidentally, what do you think of the characters in this one? Because I think it's a really good cast, this one.
Well, yeah, they're all... I think they're all really likable. They all have very sympathetic and understandable motivations. Yeah, I think they're really good. Of course, we have like one animal companion with Heisme, because every Atlas RPG seems to need one of those now.
Heisme is one of the best parts of the game. He gets a great social link.
There are a lot of really funny moments. Like, I remember in particular when they were trying to get Heisme's attention, started banging pots and pans together.
Oh, that was great.
And it just led to them insulting each other.
Oh dear. I did hear one person on a podcast say they thought this was the best of sort of Atlas groups since Persona 3, like the most tight group. And I said, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think I thought the Persona 5 one was a bit better.
Yeah, Persona 5 definitely felt more like a unit. I think probably my one problem with this game is that the characters they connect with the protagonist, but they don't connect with each other. Like, you don't see them interacting with each other as much as opposed to in the Persona games where they all feel like a unit. With this one, it feels like they more gravitate to one character.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I think you might be on something with that one. I will say as well, I know I was wondering what you feel about the class system, because I know you're not a huge fan of swapping out classes.
I do like the archetypes. I do like how they play insanely differently from one another, and they all work for multiple different strategies. My main issue with it is you can't swap between them in battle.
I agree. I wish I could swap them in battle.
Because part of the reason why, at least in Persona 5, it always felt like you had the upper hand was because you could swap personas. Joker could swap personas whenever, like in battle, whenever. Meanwhile, in this, you don't get that option. You're just like, you enter a battle with the archetype. If you don't have the right one, you're screwed. I wouldn't even mind it if, like, I could, when you retried the battle, you had the option to swap out your archetypes to get the better advantage, but no, you're just not able to.
I mean, you can take advantage of the skill inheritance mechanic.
Yeah, but even then, it only goes so far.
I would agree. I wish you could, and I wouldn't mind if they said you can do it, but you lose a turn if you did it. You know, like how you swap out characters, you lose a bit of time with that one.
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be fine.
Yeah, no, so that would at least keep the balance. It's definitely a harder game than Persona 5.
Yeah.
Like the Persona 5, there was only, in the original version, there was only 2 bosses that really were a challenge. Royal goes up to to really only one.
No, I found out a number of challenging ones in Persona 5 Royal. The final boss in particular, all my characters were max level. I was still dying consistently.
Yeah, so the final boss in Royal is quite hard. The problem with, I think Metaphor's big thing for me though is, how do you feel about the blending of the action RPG elements with the turn-based one, like trying to fight enemies in?
You say action RPG and turn-based, like I don't see it like having any kind of action-based RPG elements.
Okay. Let me rephrase.
I see it more like how in Persona 5, once you're at overpower level, you can just skip the fight and just beat the enemy instantly. I don't see it as like you have an RPG elements when in action mode. That is sort of how I normally see it.
Okay, well, what do you feel about the action and RPG mix? Then I'll rephrase.
It's basically just the same as the Persona games, but with extra steps.
I really like it. I'll be honest, I really like it.
It's not a complaint. It's just that it feels like the Persona one with extra steps. I don't think it's as deep as I think you think of it as.
I don't think it's deep, but I do think it does actually increase my enjoyment of the game, I think.
I like that you don't have to go too over. It doesn't require you to go like an insane level. Like in Persona 5, I think it's like you need to be 10 or 20 levels above the enemy to know to be able to just skip the fight. In this you need to be like 3.
Yeah, that's one of the things I did like about it, and I also like the fact it changed up depending on which archetype you picked. So I often partway through I actually taught the protagonist the gunner technique so that I could shoot them from a distance.
I mostly used a wizard, I think, during those sections.
Yeah,
because you get kind of an AoE effect.
Yeah, the other thing is though, I feel like on a second playthrough I'm going to enjoy myself a bit more because I'll know exactly which archetypes to pick for different characters because I know which ones help build up the other ones. The other thing I didn't know about until way late into the game, or I must have misread it and not remembered it, is once you master an archetype, you can just keep leveling it up, and it gives you a sort of one of those items that helps you increase archetype experience.
Yeah, how long did it take for you to figure that out?
One of the last dungeons. It's because I kept changing classes unnecessarily. So it did help me, but mind you, knowing that I'd known it in enough time that it lent I got the special class. I got 4 of the special classes in the end.
It just is.
But it is okay. What so
like with me, I just mostly kept each of my allies to like one or two particular archetypes. I just kept swapping with the protagonists if I needed to.
Okay, let me start with this one because we got on a long time with this one.
When don't we? Let's be honest.
Do you think this game deserves the 94 it got?
Yeah, I think that's around where it deserves.
I agree. And would you be upset if this won Game of the Year at the awards next month?
I don't think it will, but I think it deserves it. Yeah, I don't think I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, it's getting nominated. We know that for a fact. It's done way too well amongst the publications to not get nominated. But I agree with you. I don't think it will win, but I'd be very happy if it did win. Because I would say I think at the minute I'd be very hard pressed to not pick this as my best RPG of the year, in spite of the final boss. Which again, I think I will have a bet. I think I'm going to enjoy whenever I get round to it. I feel like I'm going to enjoy my second playthrough.
I will once again advertise that you play Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, I'm playing Infinite Wealth.
Because believe me, you need another contender.
I'm gonna play Infinite Wealth. I've got it downloading on my Xbox.
You've been saying that for months. You said you will play it when you got back from Vakken. You didn't. You said you would play it when you got back from Full Metal Cruise. You didn't even go. You said you would play it when you finished your Pokemon tournament. You still haven't played it.
Can we get on to the next game? Reese, you played a big one from Nintendo. Let's do the 2 Nintendo games in a row, I reckon.
Sure.
Mario and Luigi Brothership. You're almost done with it.
I'm 36 hours in. I'm in the final dungeon now.
Elliot, you haven't had a chance to play it yet.
I haven't got it now.
I have played it. I played a few hours of it. It's not done by Alpha Dream this time, obviously, because they're gone. Did we actually get who's the studio that's doing it? Because I know there were former Alpha Dream employees working on it.
Yeah.
Acquire.
Oh, it's Acquire that's doing it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. There's... Okay, Reese, what do you think of it?
I think it's good, but a step down from previous entries in the series.
Well, that's interesting, because the only other one you can play on the Switch right now is the Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah, so you'd have to go back to the 3DS to play the other several entries, because the original Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story both got 3DS remakes.
Yeah, but you don't want to play the 3DS remake of Bowser's Inside Story.
Well, it's cheaper than getting a Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Oh, yeah. Well, they'll probably put Bowser's Inside Story on... they'll probably put Bowser's Inside Story on NSO at some point.
You have to remember, this is Nintendo. The only time that makes sense is when they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to fill out... well, we're going to talk a bit about what Nintendo's strategy is going forward later.
We're still waiting for Pokemon on NSO.
I've given up hope that's actually going to happen.
Yeah, the most we're getting is the original Snap and the original Stadium. That's it.
Don't forget Pokemon Pinball.
Oh, yeah. No, that could happen. Happen.
We've got a trading card game as well, I guess.
Yeah, and Mystery Dungeon came onto GBA.
Oh, when did it happen?
A couple of months ago. Everyone forgot it happened.
Yeah.
But, so, Marion, how do you think this compares? So, you don't think that... I will say, I played it and I thought, you know what? It's all right, actually, this one. I think if you liked the old other Mario and Luigi RPGs, this one is pretty good. I mean, I can't really say that much negative about it.
I can.
Well, you haven't played 36 hours of it.
Yeah, but that's the point. I haven't played 36 hours of it. But I'm assuming, Reese, you told me you didn't like the backtracking.
Oh, there is so much backtracking throughout the entire story. And even now, before the final dungeon, you have to backtrack to all the previous islands again. And there's like 15 islands.
So I have to ask, because you have to do a lot of backtracking in Thousand Year Door.
This is way worse.
How is it? Yeah, I was about to ask, how is this worse than the backtracking in Thousand Year Door?
Because you do it more often, and it takes longer to do all the backtracking.
Right.
I do.
And it's even worse if you want to do all the side quests as well. Because every time you visit the island, there's always new side quests. You have to keep going back, and it repeats the cycle. This game is so much filler.
Do you mind if I ask, Reese, what do you think of the visual design of the game? Because I actually think that's one of its strongest points. Yeah,
definitely. The visual style is good, and it gets more interesting the further into the game you go, where they really hype up the whole based on old style electronics aspect.
Yeah, and I do like the fact there's another Mario RPG that's kind of gone down the route of, you know what, let's make these games a bit nuts. Let's do kind of character designs that we wouldn't normally do in a Mario game. But they look just enough that they're going to fit in with this. So you get characters like like in Thousand Years Door, you had Goombella and Rock Hawk, the wrestler. I do like the designs of some of the characters in this one. So the island hopping mechanic, obviously, that's a big factor in this one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you said it yourself. There's 15 islands.
I
always find your first visit is really quick, but when you go back to them, it's then really long.
And you have to keep going back all throughout the story as well, if it forces you to.
Yeah, but it's weird because you normally would expect particularly in these kinds of games, it's normally your first visit is really long, and then when you're backtracking, it's quite quick because you've unlocked loads of secret paths or you've learned how the mechanics work a bit more. This one, it seems to do the absolute opposite.
Yeah, there is no secret paths. The only thing you get are warp pipes. from the start of the island to the very end of the island.
Combat's pretty.
I think that's the case. That was also the case with Paper Mario, because you got warp pipes, but they already took you to like the village area rather than like to the dungeon as well. If I remember correctly, I think we were spoiled with that with the Switch version, because those warp pipes were not in the original, if I remember.
Yep.
They weren't.
Yep,
No.
that's true. The whole pipe room was brand new.
Yeah.
Which thank God they added that, because I've now watched people. I've watched comparisons that people have done now of the GameCube version to the Switch version with the backtracking, and I'm like, that severely improves that game.
Yeah.
What do we think then? The combat, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, the combat is good. It relies more heavily on the QTE aspect, because enemies do more than one attack to QTE per turn to dodge, and bosses have several turns in a row, even if you've got the best speed stat you can at that point in the game.
Yeah.
So the majority of the battles are purely reactionary rather than you going on the aggression.
I know these games are made with a younger audience in mind, because they are designed to be someone's first RPG. But some of them I thought like going, I don't think for example think a kid is going to necessarily be able to manage the timing of this over and over and over again.
Yep.
Compared to, say, like, I feel like they were handled a little better in like Thousand Year Door remake.
Yeah, they really were. And from my point in the story, with the best defense stat you could possibly get for the equipment and level ups, bosses are still like 2-hit or 3-hit killing me. So unless you're massively grinding over level, I think the younger audience is going to severely struggle with this.
Yeah, it's and I don't believe it has difficulty options either, so it's not as if you can turn down the difficulty. I don't think
it does, but it's hidden. The only way to activate it is dying 3 times in one specific battle. That then gives you the option to do that battle again on an easier difficulty. But then after the battle's done, it's back to normal.
So the Devil May Cry mechanic.
Pretty much, yeah.
Weird, those two games mixing together.
Yeah.
Hey, what even weirder, it was in God of War as well.
Was it?
Yeah, you died too many times in one of the God of War games. They ask if you want to change difficulty. Mind you, I might be thinking of the Greek era rather than the Norse era.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I played the Greek era.
Yeah, it's not for me.
What are you guys... okay, so... I think that we're thinking this game is quite good, but there's some issues there. It's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, and the performance issues hit a lot harder towards the end of the game. Due to plot reasons, there's a big filter over the overworld that causes everything to lag, every island with frame rate drops.
So, I mean, we're going to come into questioning about what Switch games are going to be like down the line later on.
Yeah.
So we can obviously bring this back up again. But it is rather telling that Nintendo, even at this stage of the Switch's life, are struggling to get the best performance out of this system.
Yeah, this feels like a game that should have been pushed back next year to the Switch 2.
Yeah. I think it's not much they're struggling with the Switch hardware. It's more just because they're becoming a bit too ambitious with the games at the minute.
So,
yeah, because in my opinion, when it was announced that Switch 2 will have backwards compatibility, they're thinking, right, let's push these games hard. So they may still run the current hardware, but next year they'll run a lot better.
Yeah, that's probably my thought process. I'm probably thinking, the next console's coming out soon. They'll just fix it. That'll just fix it.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll obviously talk a little more Switch 2 later.
Yeah.
You said that like 3 times.
This thing got like an 81, 82 on Metacritic, I believe.
It used to be a bit higher, wasn't it?
For critics, it's 79. For users, it's 8.2.
How do you think?
Yeah, so it has come down since launch because it used to be higher.
Yeah. So how do you think then, Reece? 79, is that appropriate?
Yeah, because in my opinion, it's the high 7s. This game. It is good, but it has a lot of issues and flaws.
Yeah, I think all the other Mario and Luigi games are, all the other ones are rated higher. We got 90, 81, 82, 90, 81, 86, 76, but that's for Paper Jam.
Ugh.
That's a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of the weaker ones.
But do you think this? I would like to see Nintendo carry on with the Mario and Luigi series. I'd prefer they don't sort of confine this again.
Yeah, that's my thoughts as well. But my opinion is keep it to hardware you know the limitations of, because this will spoil everyone's first opinion of the game with these performance issues.
Okay,
I could pull off new people.
Yeah.
Let's.
I just find it mad that the Switch runs Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom perfectly fine, and yet struggles with Mario and Luigi.
Yeah. And it's not even just in combat, but all the major particle effects are. You see him walk around the open world.
Hell, it struggled with another Zelda game that is arguably not as powerful.
Yeah.
It doesn't require as much. All those glare effects.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Let's talk more Mario then. Super Mario Party Jamboree that came out.
Oh, just before we move on quickly.
Oh right.
This game is not worth a 5 that IGN gave it. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I agree. That was unbelievably bad of a score.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, IGN has really been shooting himself in the foot as of late.
Yeah.
Giving us a 5 and yet giving Concord like a fucking 8 or something like that.
Yeah, that was baffling. That Concord scored that high. That is the worst thing I've played all year.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to kick down that studio because they have closed, and I feel very sorry for the people that worked on it. But I'm not gonna pretend. But it's not gonna help them anymore if I pretend that was actually a secretly good game.
You were one of the people championing that game at first as well.
When it was coming out, I thought, and then as soon as it came out and I actually got my hands on it proper, I was like, no, this is a boring mess.
I think, to quote the disgruntled housewife, I fucking told you so.
Yes, rightfully, yes, but at least I'd rather I'd rather try and see the best in something and get it wrong than just outright dismiss it.
Yeah.
You did not think that with Dragon Age.
Now, with Dragon Age, I kind of wanted to see where that didn't intrigue me enough. But do you want to do Dragon Age next, or?
No, we do Mario Party.
Let's do Mario Party then. Super Mario Party Jamboree. I've played it quite a bit.
And we attempted to play it.
We attempted to play it, but we couldn't do it because it doesn't have wireless multiplayer.
Which is fucking stupid.
Have you guys played any of it by yourselves?
I played some of the motion control mini games, like the cooking rhythm game.
Reese, what have you played?
I think I did one of the boards, but one of the starter boards, and I thought it was all right.
I've played a bit of every mode. I've mostly spent my time though on the boards and the Koopalathon, which I would like to start on the Koopalathon because that's basically them trying to do Mario Party Fall Guys.
No, not again.
It's done much better this time.
They tried that with Kirby and it didn't work.
No, it's much better this time. Because
I remember that.
I will say I'm actually not going to hear the slander for this one. I'm actually someone who really champions Dream Buffet.
I mean, you're a Fall Guy fanatic.
But that being said, I didn't think Dream Buffet. I only play it with my friends from America when they want to do it. I don't.
Friends.
You don't have friends, Cal.
I do when we want to play that game. It's not going to replace Fall Guys. This one, I actually think you could potentially take this up instead of Fall Guys. I mean, it's very difficult to do as a group of friends because you're only allowed to have up to 7 other people playing.
No.
Yeah, no, you can have a room of 8 people, like, privately, but you can't have, like, a room of 20 people in terms of that one. You can do it 20 if you're playing with randos, but
right.
which I have done. My best position so far is 3rd.
It's too bad.
It's basically, you're collecting coins in one of 3 minigames that loops, and they change in difficulty each time. And you saw the more coins you get, the further on the board you move, and it's whoever does 5 laps in wins. So, and the mini games are pretty good. They do a Bowser elimination game at the end where if you lose, depending on what position you are, you go back a certain number of spaces, and you start the game with a special item. If the next round a special item, if you survive, I'll say right now, it's very addictive, but you're going to be begging for the mini games that you like. So, for example, the block puzzle mini game, I'm terrible at. So every time that comes along, I'm just like, well, I'm never going to win this because this is going to slow me down exponentially. But when the bread oven mini game comes on, that's my jam, and I'm immediately going to speed up. So I can recommend it for the Koopalathon. I can't recommend it for the other extra modes because I don't think any of them are substantial enough.
I thought the cooking rhythm game was fun.
Well, we'll get to the motion mini games in a minute, but
It's basically just a WarioWare.
Yeah, the one I did play. There's 6 boards, I believe, in total. I might have unlocked a 7th one because I can see a construction thing on the front. But there were 6 boards, as far as I'm aware. There's 4 new ones and 2 repeats.
From the N64 era again, which I wish they will move the fuck on from.
Yeah, I kind of want
to... Give us the GameCube boards, damn it!
Yeah, but I will say, of the 2 boards they could have picked, they picked 2 very good ones. Western Land is great. And I wish they picked Pirate Land, but Western Land was the next best option.
I quote what I think other people have said. If you're going to bring back boards from Mario Party 2, go all out. Bring back the costumes.
I agree.
I want to dress as Woody.
Yeah, people would like to see Pauline wearing a cowboy hat. But I'm going to stress right now, I think the new boards, I think 3 out of 4 of them are really good. The Wiggler one is the one I don't really like that much. That one, it's very linear. The gimmick isn't that interesting. And you don't feel that much tension with stuff happening. So like the beach one, the island hopping one, I should say, that one has the tide coming in, so that really does make you a bit more paranoid because you can actually get stuck in one part of the board for like 3 turns if you're not careful. And the volcano adds a bit of extra one. My favorite is the shopping mall one, though. That one's really good. That's up there with the best Mario Party boards. Mini games, I think you have to turn on the motion control ones because I think I kind of want to turn on the motion control ones half the time because I feel like if you don't turn on the motion control ones, there's a really limited number of mini games. I've found it much quicker to get to a point where I'm just doing repeats compared to previous Mario Party boards. And I also found it interesting. But when I turned on the motion control ones, I found it interesting. They barely came up. Like there's quite a few of them, but I did one game where I turned on the motion controls, and it was like 3 motion mini games in the whole 15 turns. That was it, and 2 of them were in the last 5 turns.
Yeah.
So I think they haven't sorted out the algorithm properly on that one. That could do with an update, or there's not that many in there, and as much as I thought there was, and there's just not that many to show up. The motion control mini games are fine, in my opinion. I think Elliot likes them more than I do.
I've literally only played 1.
I brought up as well. This game has the most mini games of any Mario Party, about 112 in total.
I mean, there's 112, but I found myself repeating them really fast. Maybe it's because, again, I don't really like doing the motion control ones, so I'm turning them off a lot more than I am. Online works a lot better in this one compared to other games. The online is much better. They've really improved that.
I mean, it's bloody better, as it's probably the only option.
It's really well.
You can't play local co-op.
I really, really, really like the online multiplayer. Also, the one downside I do have is you're guaranteed pretty much someone's going to rage quit or have a connection issue because you'll know instantly they've been replaced by a bot because they move a lot faster. And I will say though, the bots are usually a bit smarter than they are in previous Mario Party games. They're not incredibly smart though.
Well, so not as smart as hard DK.
No, not even close. And it really annoys me because I've seen people rage quit on turn 1 because it didn't quite go that way. I was like, there's 14 more turns to go. Grow up.
Yeah.
This coming from the 34-year-old playing Mario Party.
The thing I don't like, Zing. The thing I don't like about the game as well, I don't like this at all. They introduced a thing called Pro Rules.
Oh yeah, that.
And it basically is they tell you ahead of time when you go in the shops, the items have a limited quantity.
Yeah.
The chance spaces are not chance spaces anymore. You just pick between an item or a certain number of coins. They tell you ahead of time what the bonus star is going to be. There's only one bonus star, and they tell you ahead of time what it's going to be. So it's basically trying to... Elliot summed this up quite well when I brought this up to him. He's basically trying to turn Mario Party into an e-sport.
I've heard some people do enjoy it.
God.
Like some people don't really enjoy a lot of the random elements and just aren't able to relax with the random elements, so they just enjoy. So they like knowing what's ahead.
But I hated it. I love Mario Party for the random elements. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong to hate it. I dislike it.
No, I agree. No, I take their point, but I would add the point. I kind of wonder why you're playing Mario Party then. Because at that point it just feels like it's most of the. I played one round of it, like a 10-turn game online, and it felt like all the joy had been sucked out of the game. So I'm going to say right now, Pro Rules, I do not endorse them.
I think we need to really talk about the big problem that all of us had. You can't play on multiple switches locally.
Yeah, that was a big problem. We couldn't get a game going with that one. So you need an online connection if you all want to do switches. Or...
what is more likely? Someone having a single switch and 4 pairs of Joy-Cons, or 4 people having a switch?
The latter is way more likely. And okay, I'm gonna bring up a point now that because I remember we did that trip to Leeds one time. Me, you, and Reese and Ren, and
Reese is here. Yeah, you don't have to talk like he's not.
Didn't know if he was still muted at the time.
I said Alfie barking.
But we did that trip to Leeds and with Ren, and we all played Mario Party on the way there, and that was an amazing experience between all of us.
Which we can't do anymore.
Exactly, we can't do it anymore. That's that.
Well, for 2 reasons: one, the co-op, and 2, that restaurant got shut down.
Oh, funny. Can I also add the other one? So if we wanted to do that again, say we were taking another long trip, we'd have to sort of turn one of our phones into a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yep.
And all do internet through that.
Alternate option: just play a different game, or a different Mario Party.
But again, it is one of those okay, so it's a really good Mario Party in spite of the fact it has a bunch of flaws. And ND Cube, or now called Nintendo Cube, they are starting to get the hang of what makes good Mario Party. They've evolved from the Mario Party 9 and 10 days.
Yeah.
I think we teased.
They didn't bring back the car, thank God.
Not yet, Elliot.
Don't fucking say that, Reese.
Next game, car edition.
Don't jinx it. No, if I would do what they did with Mario Kart and have another Mercedes-Benz sponsorship.
Which is weird because they actually do have I just remembered they do have a car board in that thing, the Motor Speedway, but it's not everyone in the same car. It is just a board where everyone's in F1 cars.
And that was the one board I played.
It's really good. That one's really good fun, actually.
Yeah, because it has a special turbo dice.
Yeah, you could go 30 turns in one roll space. I was.
You just said 30 turns in one space.
No, I made a hell of an error there.
Yeah, it's a very overpowered item.
No, I'll be honest. It sounded like you realized your mistake, but just stuck with it.
Shall we? Speaking of that, we'll move on to your one, Elliot. Dragon Age. The new.
The two dragons next.
Yep. Start with Dragon Age.
Yeah.
You played it. Which platform you played it on?
PC.
You're playing on PC. I haven't had a chance to start it yet. Reese, you obviously haven't played it.
No.
Elliot, what do you think?
IGN gave it too high of a score, but I still think it's really good.
Okay. And your experience with the other... You've played a lot of the other Dragon Age games, haven't you?
I have only played Dragon Age Origins.
Wow. Well, that's a really good one, actually. So, I think it's rather interesting. Dragon Age has finally come back. It's been...
I mean, they can kind of hype building up Dragon Age 4 for like a few years now.
So, what do you like about the game? I'm going to start with that one.
I think the story is definitely really interesting. It all builds up a bit on the lore of the previous games. Like, obviously, we kind of know an Inquisition Solace sort of became a very prominent figure and sort of exposed himself as the antagonist. This time around, and he has further done that by, and he's further increased that status by him and your character accidentally summoning a couple of elven gods.
As you do.
Like, apparently, but like, what he was going to do was he was going to break the veil and break the veil to move these gods to a different prison. However, it will bring demons into the world, leading to a number of deaths. By us stopping him, we accidentally unleashed the gods.
Oh, for God's sake, not again.
I play as an elf as well, so them being elven gods is kind of fitting.
So, okay, the character creator, it's apparently very good in this one.
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Combat, what do you think of that?
Pretty standard hack and slash kind of beat 'em up combat. You have like a single button attack pattern, a bunch of spells that you can use and stuff like that.
But BioWare is very good at doing that.
Yeah. Obviously you have companions. You all go into battle in groups of 3. All the companions are quite likable, actually. I do really enjoy them.
Okay, that's good. So it sounds like the thing is though, this sounds like it's a very standard Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
But I've heard a bit of online people saying it's a good game, but it's not a good Dragon Age game. What's your opinion on that comment?
I don't really know. Again, I've only really played Origins, and the combat styles in both this and Origins are very different.
Yeah, because
Origins goes for a much more of a World of Warcraft style combat. Meanwhile, this one is definitely more standard action.
So we gone from like World of Warcraft to Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, kind of.
Not a complaint because I liked Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I'd say it. I don't know if I'd say if it's less deep or more or as deep as 16. Because you don't. Because I mean, obviously in 16 you have all the Titan ability. You have all the not Titan, Icos abilities. I think icon abilities. And meanwhile in this one you don't quite get that level of that number of options, but you do get like sort of archetypes of like subclasses, I guess. Like I'm always my subclasses are like Reaper, which lets me use like Siphon magic. There's Berserker, which basically lets me deal with stuff like that. And of course, with the companions you have as well, you can have different elements and different spells.
Okay.
Actually, there's something kind of cool where if you like aim at the same target and use 2 spells that combo with one another, you can like cause an explosion.
I like that.
Which is cool. It sort of makes you incentivize and think about what companions you want you to join you.
Well, it's funny because the two BioWare RPGs, the one I've always preferred has been Mass Effect out of the two of them. But I will say I enjoyed my brief time of Dragon Age. Like I've only played, I played Origins as well. I played a little bit of Inquisition, which I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Inquisition.
A lot of people, I think that's a lot of people's favorite.
Which is kind of weird because it was the first winner of Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, like, what... that is really one of those, why did you not give it to Hearthstone in hindsight?
Well, I'm glad I didn't give it to Hearthstone.
The funny... okay, so...
Also, why did they give it to that when Dark Souls 2 Skull of the First Sin is right there?
Because exactly, it's one of my favorite platinum experiences.
It's Dark Souls 2. They made a fucking second one.
So what about okay, let's add let's add to the conversation on this one. Okay, what's this Metacritic score right now? Because I think it was 84, 85.
It was pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing that surprised me because I thought it was going to be like 81, 82.
It is currently 82, or 82 for critics, and fucking hell, 3.8 for audience.
That is review bombers. That is definitely review bombers. That is because it's definitely done the it's definitely pissed off the We Hate Woke crowd on Twitter.
Oh, good God. This person opens with non-binary demon. Lol.
I don't care what their opinion is. If they're opening with that thing and there's a negative, then I don't give a shit what they think.
Yeah, it's critiquing the game. They're putting their own biases on everything.
I was trying not to bring this up, but the fact that we got to that user score means we have to bring it up now. But because I don't want it to ruin this game, because I think the BioWare, from what I've heard and what Elliot's telling me, they've done a pretty good job making this game. And I doubted them, and I'm glad to be wrong. Because from the sounds of it, they've done something really cool with this.
Yeah. I am looking at other reviews. Some people there are obviously people who do have legit criticism about it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you have legit criticism for this game, Elliot.
Yeah, I do. Some people say the dialogue isn't great at times, which I kind of agree. Which I do kind of agree with. There's a lot of really interesting lore to it, but some of the dialogue is a little hit or miss.
But I'm wondering, is Dragon Age getting to the stage where it does that thing that a lot of long-running series do, which is they're so concerned with the lore that they're not developing much of the story they have at hand? You know, like it's one of the big problems I have with DC Comics at the minute. They're doing that a lot.
I don't know really. I do kind of get what they're coming from when they say the story's not great, because a lot of the interesting stuff for me, it's the companions, it's the lore, it's a lot of the interactions you have with people. The story itself is kind of half there.
I get you. It's one of those, right. But again, you haven't finished it, so obviously we can't completely talk about the narrative at this point.
Yeah, I think maybe 20 hours in at the minute.
So I
check my saves actually.
Yeah,
nearly 20 hours.
I think you're going to be. So from what I gather, you're pretty happy with this game as you've had it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'd probably say like the 8.2. Maybe a little bit low for me. I'd probably give it like an 8.4.
I imagine, yeah, because based on what you're hearing, I'd say that's an 8.4, 8.5 game. I wouldn't call it an 8.2.
Yeah.
So let's. I think we need to. So I think let's move on to the next one. So DBZ Sparking Zero.
Yep. Otherwise known as Budokai Tenkaichi 4.
You played it on PlayStation. I played it on Xbox.
I got the platinum for it.
Yeah, I just saw when I went on the PlayStation a minute ago, because it comes up if your friends get platinum trophies.
He's stalking us, everyone. He's stalking us.
It doesn't. I'm not stalking it. It just comes up on the PlayStation. It says so and so got this trophy on the new like dashboard thing.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Well, the only reason I noticed it is when Cal got pissed and tried to beat my times as Astrobot.
Yeah, it came up on Astrobot. I beat his times. He immediately went back in and stole all of my records.
Yeah, better.
Yep.
By the way, the 5th course, Reese, you can keep it. I don't want to play that ever again.
Yeah, it was the worst thing in that whole speedrun scenario.
So, DBZ Sparking Zero, we both played it.
Yep.
You got the platinum for it. Reese, you definitely have more of a right to give your opinion on this one. What do you think of Sparking Zero?
I really enjoyed it. It's a great follow-up to the old series because it's the same old developer for the old Budokai Tenkaichi games. It's Spike. They came back.
Oh yes, they did bring back Spike for this. Yeah, Elliot, I'm assuming you haven't played Sparking Zero yet.
No, because I'm still on episode 50 of the original Dragon Ball. And because they are what if scenarios, I would just have no idea what the fuck is going on.
There's a few what if scenarios in there, and the what if scenarios are really good.
Yeah, definitely. It's the highlight of the game for me.
They did
The one thing I saw was I think Black Gohan.
Yep.
What an interesting idea that was.
Yeah, because in that what scenario, Gohan actually keeps training, so he's still the strongest.
Yeah. So that was deliberately, I swear, that was deliberately a challenge to the DBZ abridged joke.
Yeah.
I think I like I like the fact they just put in pretty much every character. Like there's very few that are missing.
Yeah, there's 182 in total. The only ones that are missing are most of the OG Dragon Ball cast that were in prior games.
Yeah.
Because the only person we have is Teen Goku from the end of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'm not too upset that we're missing them because let's face it, as soon as we went to Z, the whole trajectory of the series changed, and I don't think those characters fit in as well with the Z cast.
Yeah, so we have most of the Z cast here. We've got most of GT, only missing Super Android 17. And the majority of Super cast is in as well.
I'll bet you Super Android 17's coming in the DLC.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, you mean I can't play as Emperor Pilaf?
No, but you can in the old Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Oh.
Let's face it, Pilaf is the only character from the original Dragon Ball we'd want to play as.
Well, also Demon King Piccolo.
Oh yeah, I suppose you want to do Demon King Piccolo. Hopefully not played by Spike from Buffy.
Yeah. Which is funny though, because he actually came back for Super, you know.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah, so he actually voices Zamasu, and he did it for free.
What's with Spike from Buffy?
He played Piccolo in the Dragon Ball.
Yeah. You sound like you said hopefully not voiced by him. Why? What's wrong with him?
I'd be fine with him coming back, but he's just going to taint it with the fact he was Piccolo in that terrible live action film. What about actually? That's another thing about it as well. I do like the fact the voice cast actually sound like they're having a good time with this.
Yeah, a few voice lines are recycled from older games like Raging Blast, but the majority are new voice lines.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like Garlic Jr.'s stuff that is new voice lines. I don't think that was. Yeah,
most of the OG villains had to re-record.
Yeah, because they got new some of them have got new voice actors.
Yeah.
What about I'm wondering I'm wondering if there's going to be that's going to be an issue going forward, considering what's happening with voice actors at Crunchyroll right now.
Yeah.
What about the? Okay, I also will say. Can I say something I didn't really like about the game?
Sure.
I think there's too few battlefields. I think they could have done a few more.
Yeah, that was one of the major complaints in my review. There's 12 only in total, whereas BT3 had over 30.
Yeah, and there's a lot of environments they could have drawn from. Like there's like one of the ones they didn't do, which I would have liked, is the Otherworld tournament. You know the one when Goku fights knockoff Piccolo?
Yeah, PyCon.
PyCon, that's it. That arena would have been great.
But there's several classic ones that were in all the other Raging Blast and BT games with Kame House.
Yeah.
And then Kame's Lookout.
Yeah,
Because you can go to the hyperbolic time chamber, but you can't go outside.
That baffled me. That we couldn't do Kame's Lookout. That made so much sense.
Yeah.
I'm good. I think as well. I like the design of everything. I think the cell shading effect they did with the character models was pretty good.
Yeah, it's the best looking the game has in history. The only one that comes close would be Fighters, but I went for like its own art style.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Actually, do you prefer this to Fighter Z? Because I actually really like Fighter Z.
I prefer the online combat of Fighter Z, but the offline for the rest of the game here is Sparking Zero. Well, I use that because the netcode for Sparking Zero was horrendous.
Yes, it's terrible. I barely could get the online going.
Yep, and I had to do 100 matches on it.
And yeah,
for the
platinum, you have to do 100 matches. I felt like buying the game again on PlayStation just to assist you with that, because I was like, oh my god, Reese has to put up with this for 100 battles.
Yep.
I agree with you though. I think Sparking Zero way better single player, but if you want to do online multiplayer, Fighter Z is better.
Yeah.
I also think they did a very good job with the character balancing, where they made it so that you could get an upset win, but they did make sure to balance characters properly.
Yeah, there's only been one nerf since launch. Can you guess which character it was?
Oh god, I think I remember.
Risa?
Nope.
It was Yachirobe.
Yep, yeah, it was Yajirobe, because one of his skills is to be a sensu bean to get all his health back. So he was stalling out the timer online.
Yeah, I would not have gotten that. I do not know who that is.
It is a character from the original Dragon Ball as well, but you've probably not met him yet.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I'm still only like 50 episodes in.
Yeah, he turns up at I think he turns up in like the middle of the Red Ribbon Army arc.
Probably.
Because
it's been a long time since I've watched the original.
Anyway, I agree. I think it's very good. One of the things I do like the fact some of the maps do have little extra features to them. Like if you do the World Tournament arc and you start blowing up the arena, the audience runs away.
Yeah, but when setting the stage, you can turn off to automatically start in an empty arena, because a lot of people online left on by default. So it just dragged the matches out. I was to watch it every time.
Oh, but it's so funny.
It's probably the first time, Cal, not the 50th.
It's and also it's quite funny because it's how I managed to get Vegeta, finally get a fight between Vegeta and Piccolo, which again I'm amazed to DBZA to point out that those two never fought each other.
Nope.
So I think we're agreed. DBZA abridged. DBZE Sparking Zero. Very, very good game, but we wish the online multiplayer was better.
Yeah, I scored 8.9 on my review, but if the online is fixed, I'd jump up to like 9.5 easily.
It's currently 81 for critics and 8.6 for fans.
I think that's about right.
Most of those reviews are problems with the online and the AI being too difficult.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't mind the AI being too difficult because that you can work around that.
Yeah, which is what I had to do.
But the online is an issue that they really need to fix.
Yeah.
So one last game to talk about before we move into news items. We won't really spend too long on this one because Frank.
He said he's not going to spend too long on it. Be prepared to be here for the next hour, folks.
Well, mainly because I've done a whole live stream of the entire game, so
that's not going to stop you.
Sonic X Shadow Generations. I've played the HD version that's on the PlayStation, and I've also played the Switch version to test that one out. Mm-hmm. I only get the Switch version. I'll keep that one short. Only get the Switch version if it's the only way you can play the game.
Bless you.
Because it's not. Yeah, Reese's dog sneezing.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I legit thought it was someone coming in to say what. Because it
is Alfie.
Only get the Switch version if there's another version. What does that mean? I got that for my child.
So yeah, it doesn't run incredibly well on Switch, but I really
Which,
like.
I suppose, is to be expected.
Yeah, but it does run about the same rate that the Xbox 360 version ran.
Do you want something surprising then? On Metacritic, the Switch version has the highest review score.
That is weird because I would.
Mind you, it is 81, and PS5 is 80.
But that does mean it's the highest scoring 3D Sonic game on Metacritic now.
I like to know. Highest rated Sonic game on Metacritic.
No, it's not the highest rated. It's the highest rated 3D Sonic. Because Sonic Mania scored higher.
That's still embarrassing.
I wouldn't say that's embarrassing. Sonic Mania is a great game.
No, I mean that's the highest rated 3D Sonic.
Yeah, you got to remember though. I'm wondering if that would have been the same if Metacritic had been active and it been accumulating stuff when the Dreamcast was out. Because I reckon Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 would have messed with that.
Also, if you want something that's even funnier, the Murder Sonic the Hedgehog has a higher rating than it.
Oh, that's annoying. I really like this one though. I think they did a very good job cleaning up Sonic Generations. And I think they did a very good job. And the shadow sections are fantastic.
Yeah, all 2 hours of them.
You certainly can go. I certainly do enjoy going back to them though, because again, if you want to go for the platinum, one of the things you got to do is beat all the level, get an S rank in every level.
How many people will keep going back to those levels though?
I have.
It'll just be all the furries.
Yeah. Because I mean, for me, once I beat the game, I'm done with it. I move on.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
I'm certain. I guarantee unless you're a Sonic Mega fan, most people would do the exact same thing.
But out of all the 3D Sonic games, Generations is the one I've gone back to the most over the years since its release. Like I've gone back to Adventure and Adventure 2 a couple of times. I've gone back to Unleashed once. I've never really, until it got re-released, I never went back to Colors. I've never gone back to 06. I'm never going back to that.
I'm sorry, you never went back to Colors?
Until it re-released.
That's the best one.
No. Sorry, Generations and Unleashed are better than Colors.
Unleashed! You think Unleashed is better than fucking Colors?
If you took out the nighttime levels, it would be, yes.
We can't take out the nighttime levels. The nighttime levels are a part of it.
You got to admit, the daytime levels in Unleashed are better than the levels in.
Your opinions are trash.
The daytime levels in Sonic Unleashed are some of the
Colors
best
is amazing.
Ever.
Colors is great. I love the wisp powers and all that stuff. No, I'm sorry, I can't take your opinions.
I like Colors a lot.
But saying that Unleashed is better, nah, get the fuck out of here.
No.
Well, also, don't forget, Unleashed didn't mount people's eyeballs like Colors remake did.
And also with Unleashed, are you forgetting the fact that you need the fucking sun and moonstones to unlock levels?
I was hoping you'd forgotten that part.
Meanwhile, with Colors, you can just beat the level and move on to the next.
Yeah, but there's barely any 3D in Colors. You're just going from it's a lot of side-scrolling elements. I think there's too many of them. I would prefer...
And the side-scrolling levels parts are still fun.
Generations is still the best of the 3D Sonic games, though. I'm going to stand by that. The level design is amazing. The use of speed is great. The frame rate in this one is fantastic. If you play the PlayStation or PC version or Xbox version, it runs phenomenal at a good capped 60.
It is one of the best ones. I just prefer Colors. I
would definitely take Generations over Colors any day, particularly with the re-releases. Like I think the re-release of Generations is fantastic. I also found it a bit weird the levels choices they went for in the Shadow Generations segment. There's some I like Rail Canyon makes a bunch of sense. I would have preferred if they do another level from Sonic Heroes, they do Egg Fleet. But
oh yeah, it's a great level.
If they had, but Rail Canyon I suppose is a bit more iconic.
Oh, because it was Rail Canyon when we found out about the shadow androids in the story.
Oh yeah.
So it does make sense.
What I find interesting is that this basically exists to remake Shadow the Hedgehog and actually make it work.
I actually like Shadow the Hedgehog.
No, I'm going to be bold in this one. I think if it wasn't for 06, it would be the worst Sonic game ever.
No.
Sorry, it's awful. The fact
And also, Counterpoint was 06. It's not the worst.
No, you can make an argument Shadow is worse than 06.
Sonic Boom.
I said you can make an argument. I didn't say it was right.
No,
I also don't forget the whole Sonic Boom. It was technically a spin-off, not part of the main line like 06 and Shadow were.
Still counts.
Shadow, but the thing is though, I find it interesting, they didn't put any levels from Shadow the Hedgehog in Shadow Generations.
Did they one?
Yeah,
No.
the closest they got was just putting the final boss in.
No, Radical Highways from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, they didn't put any levels from Shadow the Hedgehog in this one, and I find that fascinating.
I still enjoy Shadow the Hedgehog.
I like the powers they give. Actually, the powers are great. I mean, you don't get. That's another thing. When you beat the game, you got to set a new time on every level with the Doom Wing power up, because that's the equivalent of Super Shadow you get. So I find it interesting that so that means you've got to S rank every level twice if you want to get the platinum. So that, which for me is great because it adds a bit of extra playtime. But I think if you don't want to have too much playtime for getting the platinum, that's not helping your case. I also think they've noted how easy it is to get S ranks in Sonic Generations, and they've really upped the time factor for getting them this time. Like, I was one where I thought I'd done really well, but I only got an A rank, and I need to get shave 13 seconds off to get the S rank.
Well, the Shadow the Hedgehog's bits have been consistently known as the hard modes of Sonic games.
That is true. And it made sense for like Sunset Heights from Sonic Forces to be in there. I don't get why they put Chaos Island from Sonic Frontiers in there, because Shadow wasn't in Sonic Frontiers.
No, but also Sonic Frontiers is a bad game.
I'm going to stand by. I don't think it was that bad.
It's bad.
We all saw your Let's Play. It's a bad game.
I'm standing by my opinion on it. And
Your opinions are trash.
But I also found it interesting they picked the most annoying island from the game to be the representation of it. Because remember, that was the one where I got hopelessly lost and Ren had to guide me.
Carl, that was every island in Sonic Frontiers.
It was not every island in Sonic Frontiers, and you know it.
Yeah, but that was just you playing Soma.
Oh, Soma still annoys me because I got every single trophy in that, and I don't have a platinum to my name.
Yeah, some games do that. You beat the game and you get all the trophies. Congratulations, you did the bare minimum. Here's some sick.
So, you guys haven't played Sonic X Shadow Generations yet, have you?
No, not yet.
No, because I don't really want to spend 50 quid on a 4-hour game.
It's 45, I believe, for the...
Close enough.
For the base.
So it's the perfect value then.
I think you look at it this way. There's like 20 quid for Sonic Generations and 25 quid for the Shadow Generations segment. I think that's a good value for money.
You would, though. Mate, you were legit considering getting a Sonic golf cart a while ago.
That was a joke, and you know it.
No, it wasn't, and you know it.
I don't believe you.
If I was that... I'm bad with money. I'm not that bad with money. Incidentally, I can't recommend picking up the special edition from Limited Run Games, which comes with the collector's edition with the Dreamcast statue, because mine hasn't arrived yet.
Well, isn't Limited Run Games American? It may take a while.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's been weeks since the game came out. I haven't even got an email from them to say it's been dispatched.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I would say I gave it a 9 out of 10 on my review. I stand by the 9 out of 10. I think it's a 9 out of 10 game. I think the one thing they should have done is they should have made the time eater a bit. They should have made the time eater a bit less of a slog to get through. And I really wish they didn't have the trophies to get the platinum of beat the final boss in each game without taking damage. That's ridiculous.
Well, at least not beat them both without taking damage under a time limit. Now that would be worse.
Okay, I'm going to start...
I think you are under a time limit anyway.
So, let's go to news items. So, we're not going to talk about the Game Awards because we're going to talk more about that next month. Although, I'm going to tune in for the nominations on Monday and I'll announce if my prediction is accurate or not. I'm going to post on Twitter...
You hear that? You hear that, everybody? Calvin's going to announce the game of his predictions for the game awards. Everyone, get out your fucking cum rags. We're gonna have a long night.
I offered to do it here, so it was official, but you forbid me from doing it.
Yeah, because you talk about it all the fucking time.
So let's start with Mass Effect. I believe it's getting a TV series. Was it Amazon who's doing this?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Amazon MGM Studios.
Okay, so it's the Bond studio that's doing it.
Yeah. Just to read the Variety article, Daniel Casey is set to write and executive produce the adaptation. Karen Zreik, I don't know how to pronounce that, will executive produce under his dyslexia tree production banner, and Ari Arad and EA's Michael Gamble is also executive producing. Cedar Tree is currently under the overall deal with Amazon MTG Studios.
Wait, wasn't it that Arad guy who screwed over Spider-Man 3 originally?
No, so he was. I believe. I think he was. He's been involved in some of the Spider-Man stuff. I know that much. But I mean, here's the thing though. Mass Effect has a great story, and it would be.
No, but he did. But movies he has made include The Punisher 2004.
Oh.
The Ghost Rider sequel, Ghost in the Shell.
Oh God.
Uncharted, and Borderlands.
I was gonna say Uncharted is fine. It's nothing amazing. It's fine. It does mean though that Tom Holland's gonna have a role in this somewhere.
Yeah, so it turns out he was the executive producer and regular producer for every Marvel film and Sony Marvel film now.
It's weird.
Including all the Venom films, all the Spider-Verses. He's even attached to the new Legend of Zelda film.
Yeah, but again, it's a case of some of those have turned out really good though.
Yeah, but then you also have Uncharted. And Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how this one will turn out. Like Mass Effect it's a very interesting sci-fi universe, and I'd be very interested to see what they would do with an Amazon TV series. Because could you adapt the entirety of Amazon TV series are typically like 6 to 8 episodes. Do you reckon you could adapt the entirety of the first game into 6 or 8 episodes?
Not without cutting a lot.
I agree. I don't think
you I feel like I remember watching Daniel Green talk about this and the cuts that he would make. He said he would cut out a number of companions that you have.
Oh no, I don't think you can do that. I think some of the companions are really
more like ones that are either uninteresting or don't have much to do or aren't relevant until like the later games.
If we get to Mass Effect 2, we are not cutting Grunt.
No, I don't think it's a Grunt.
No, because I stand by Mass Effect 2 has the best cast of any of the games.
I've not played any of the Mass Effect games.
Mass Effect 2, honest. So, do we think they're going to try and? Do you think this the timing of the TV series is going to affect what time they want to release the game? Because the game's obviously been in development for quite a while. I mean, obviously,
because it has been a while since Andromeda.
Yeah, and we heard about the new game in 2020. It closed the Game Awards that year, and
as for if you want to know what everyone else who's working on it worked on, Casey's most recently worked on the screenplay for F9, the Fast Saga.
I haven't heard of that one.
Fast and Furious 9 count.
Oh yes, Fast and Furious 9.
Even I figured that out. He also worked on films like the sci-fi drama Kin and did rewrites for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
That's a really good movie.
Zreik was previously I'm reading this directly from the article, by the way. Zreik was previously an executive at the now defunct Marvel television unit under Jeff Loeb.
Jeff Loeb.
Jeff Loeb.
During this time with Marvel, he served as executive producer on hit shows like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Punisher, and Legion, among several others.
Yeah, so that was basically all the Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
That was separate.
And as I said, Arid worked on Borderlands, Uncharted, Ghost in the Shell. He also served as executive producer on Iron Man, Ghost Rider, and the 2006 Blade TV series.
So
Yeah. So like I said, he's in everything Marvel and a producer. And it is a big new upcoming one, guys. Him and his production company are doing the live-action version of Naruto.
Yeah.
So we get to see Tom Holland as Naruto.
that is
No, they're going to do something stupid and make him Kakashi or something.
then that's never going to come out. I'll give you. I'll be amazed that ever comes out. They always announce these live-action anime adaptations, and barely any of them actually come out.
We said that for ages with the One Piece show.
I thought that.
Yeah, that's come out.
Yeah, but the difference is the One Piece show actually did have a production company behind it. They don't Also, again, like the My Hero Academia one, we heard that one ages ago. We haven't heard a peep about that since. It was half of these times companies will announce these as an ambition rather than they actually have a plan to get this out.
Calvin, there was news in February of this year. They went to Japan to get the blessings of Kishimoto.
I mean,
to do the live action version. And they got it.
Put it this way.
It's happening.
Put it this way. I think the Naruto one has more. Put it this way. I think Naruto has more of a chance of happening than My Hero Academia, but My Hero Academia is not happening. Attack on Titan and Naruto have way more of a chance because they're way more recognizable brands. What about? Let's discuss. Just back to my point previously. The new Mass Effect game's obviously been in development for quite some time. I mean, that trailer was basically a hiring call. Like, do you want to work on Mass Effect? We're hiring. How do you reckon? Considering how long this thing could take to come out, do you think they're going to time? Do you reckon they could actually time it with the game and the TV series coming out around the same time?
I imagine there'll be delays down the line.
I think if anything, the TV series might come up before the game does.
I agree. I think the TV series comes out before the game. I'm with you on that one. I think because I think the game we're looking at like 2026, 2027, probably. Depends what their ambition for it is, because they've been working on it. Let's say that they got started around the beginning of 2021. They proper got started. That means they've been working on it, and that's been very generous.
Though at the same time, production might zoom up a little bit because now that they're done with Dragon Age, they might have more people to work on Mass Effect.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of things that could be the case. Obviously, game production is a very difficult thing. We're not going to pretend otherwise.
And with pre-production, that's normally 2 years minimum.
Yeah, because it's like a 5-year cycle now between games. Yeah. Which is actually why I'm amazed we're getting a Ghost of Tsushima sequel as soon as we are, because that is good by the time it comes out. Yeah, no, that's 5 years, because Ghost of Tsushima comes out Ghost of Tsushima came out in 2020, and Ghost of Yotei will come out probably before the end of 2025.
It's scheduled for next year.
Yeah. I don't imagine Ghost of Yotei gets delayed.
And I still stand by Ghost of Tsushima won Game of the Year. Sue me.
Just to jog my knowledge, there was no delays with the original, was there?
With Ghost of Tsushima?
No, no delays.
I don't think so.
There were a couple. I believe at one point it was meant to come out in 2019. Because I remember it showed up at a lot of PlayStation presentations. Like there was a big part of their 2018 E3 show. And again, it took 2 years for that one. So because we're going a bit off topic, we'll say we are.
Oh, I think it was it says here that Ghost of Tsushima was delayed because Last of Us 2 was heavily leaked. So I think it delayed it to prevent leaks.
So shall we move on then to other news? Do you want to do Xbox or do you want to do Nintendo first?
Well, because it's not with Xbox, because it won't take us long.
Yeah, no. So Xbox, Phil Spencer did an interview very recently, and he talked about some of Xbox's plans. And the major things that came out from this was that they really don't have any limit on what's going to go to PlayStation from their first-party studios, and that Xbox is working on a handheld but it's years off coming
There's
out.
actually another bit of news from them, which is apparently they haven't completely stopped on possibly doing more acquisitions.
Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me. They were always going to do more, but I don't think they're going to do anything on the. I wouldn't imagine they're.
They said nothing big, like nothing massive.
Like the next one, I imagine they're going to do, and you can put a pin on this one. I think they're going to buy Crystal Dynamics. You could tell me you could not see them right now buying Crystal Dynamics.
Well, they could do the bail after Avengers and the Tomb Raider trilogy.
I think people are still debating Sega.
They're not going to buy Sega. That would be the amount of issues they had getting Activision. They would have to. You have to amplify that if they want to buy Sega.
I still stand by. Phil Spencer, stop! For the love of God, stop with the acquisitions.
Yeah, I listened to one of Scott the Waz's videos on his second channel the other day, and I think he said a bit of a problem. Xbox has a bit of a problem, and the only solution they can seem to think of is throwing money at it and hoping that fixes it.
Which then came back to bite them because they've had historic job cuts now at every place they bought.
Yeah, we have consistently seen when they've acquired a company, there's masses of layoffs.
Okay, yeah. Well, that generally happens with acquisitions, but the Microsoft ones do seem to be a lot larger than you would expect from a traditional acquisition.
That's because they're being really irresponsible.
Shall we?
And not to mention, Game Pass is like their only source of income now.
Which was a big part of the new marketing campaign that they launched yesterday, which was incredibly tone deaf with the "This is an Xbox" thing, and then they did the "This is an Xbox you see on your laptop. This is an Xbox." It's like, yeah, we get it. xCloud is going to a lot more locations, and you're putting on like Samsung TV. I don't think this marks Xbox their intent to stop console production.
Yeah, but it's making their consoles a lot worthless now.
But okay, let's move on to something the PlayStation stuff. Let's start with that one.
We haven't even talked about the fucking handheld.
I think I'd rather end on the handheld with this one. So we know a couple of games coming to PlayStation already. We know about Doom: The Dark Ages. It will be same day PlayStation. Call of Duty is going to remain. Call of Duty is going to remain same day PlayStation going forwards for the next 10 years. We also have the other one we know about is Indiana Jones is going to go to PlayStation in spring. So that's sometime between April and June. So that's a good time for it to build up a reputation on Xbox if there is anything to it.
Yeah.
So I'll start with, what are your thoughts on the ones we currently have online? Are any of them tempting for you to put on your PlayStation?
The one for me coming out is Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah, well, obviously that one's going to appeal to you, Reese, because you really like the Doom games. Elliot, any of them appealing to you?
I'm just going to get them on PC.
Yeah, that's another thing, the PC. I think Xbox really underestimated how much their audience would be taken up with the PC market.
Yeah.
Shall we... the other one, the one that I'm hearing consistent rumors about is Halo. Do we think Halo goes to PlayStation at any point?
If they do, I think I'm ready to confirm Xbox is near dead.
I'm not gonna go that far, but I will say I think I don't think Infinite or any of their new ones go over. I think Master Chief Collection does. Would that be as much of a death nail for you if Master Chief Collection went over?
Yeah, because as we're saying, it's only a matter of time before we get day one releases of Halo on everything.
Reese, what about you? Halo on PlayStation?
I think we could see it possibly in the future if Microsoft is still diluting their brands.
I do know from a reliable source that there are at least 6 games that are confirmed, internally confirmed, are going to go to PlayStation. Now, I believe one of those was Indiana Jones. I don't know what the other 5 are. I would imagine they're considering Fable. I think they're really seriously considering Fable. But the thing that bothers me about these are not that they're going to PlayStation, more that they don't have a consistent time frame of them. Like, you compare the ones we just done, like Hi-Fi Rush, that was a year on Xbox before it went to PlayStation. Indiana Jones, that's going to be like 6 months on Xbox before it goes to PlayStation. Doom: The Dark Ages and Call of Duty are same day. So there's no consistency among these releases.
Yeah.
And that's what I really need. I want to know, how long are these games going to be on Xbox before I can buy them on PlayStation? But the one thing that really could help them out is the other item to talk about, the Xbox handheld. So this will be like a Switch or Steam Deck like competitor. And with the Xbox brand, I think a handheld could help them in this regard. I think they could get a real shift of hardware sales with this.
I don't know, because let's be honest, this is going to be digital only.
Yeah, but you got to remember, what's the best-selling thing hardware-wise for Xbox right now? It's the Series S. They sell way more Series S's than Series X's. If you're essentially getting a Series S you can take on the go, I think that could really go down well for them. The one thing that would make me lose interest in it would be if it's cloud only, which is a problem with the other handhelds at the minute that do offer Xbox Game Pass. They are cloud only. You're not getting native versions of those games. But I imagine, based on how long they're taking with it, I imagine this handheld will be native games. Like, you won't be buying the native version, but you'll be buying them like as in the Xbox package.
But even then, if it is native games, there's a question of how powerful it will be.
I think if it's going to be out in a few years, they've got to be aiming for it to be like Steam Deck quality.
So very powerful, but a 1 hour battery life.
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be. I think it'll be very powerful, but it won't have a great battery life.
Also, another question is, people are saying this could be another Steam Deck or another Switch. What if it's instead another PlayStation Q?
Well, that's the point I'm at. If it's cloud only, that's me out of it, because I don't see the point of having a cloud-based... I don't see much of a point of a cloud-based system when you're in your home, let alone on the go.
Yeah, when you just rely on public Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because for example, I still haven't bought that PlayStation Portal yet.
Same, I've not.
Because I just don't see...
No one has.
It's sold.
It's a useless product unless you're living with other people.
I have heard it's sold above what PlayStation's expectations were for it.
Yeah, which means they sold 10, predicting 2.
No, they sold a grand total of 3, predicting 1. Oh my god, some people have bought this?
I know, it is a bit of a... Apparently, it's actually... From the people that I've heard that got it, they did say it was a bit better than they were expecting.
Yeah, better than they were expecting is not very good. It's still not that good.
The weird thing is, they said the things it failed at were like the 2D indie games. That's where it was really struggling, with things like Hollow Knight and
Silk Song
and Terraria. Yeah, no, I want to put. I will say though, I kind of wonder, because Xbox has lost this generation.
It's lost everyone. It's lost in everyone.
Yeah, but there wasn't
even when 360 was out, which was arguably probably their best done console, they still ended up losing in the end.
Yeah, to the PS3.
Yeah, but that's because they kind of screwed it at the last moment, because they relied too much on the Kinect. What about what is that? I think Xbox, what they need to do now is they need to have a very good, consistent first-party lineup going forwards.
Which they're not going to get, because if all these games keep going to other systems, you just kind of think, what's the point of having an Xbox anymore if they're going to come to all these other stuff?
Well, if it's going to be like 6 months to a year, you're going to have to wait to get these games. I think they will then have something.
I just wait.
But then when it comes to the next generation, people are going to be thinking, well, I don't really want to wait for these games. I might as well get an Xbox so I can get these a bit earlier. And then because look at next year, they have a decent lineup. They have Avowed coming, which looks pretty good. They've got Fable, which looks really good.
I mean, all right. I mean, let me ask this: imagine you're the average consumer. You're only able to get a PlayStation or an Xbox. If you could pick one of the, would you rather get an Xbox now, have just Xbox games, or would you rather have a PlayStation where you can also get PlayStation games, but now also Xbox games, but you're just gonna have to wait a few months?
I would get the PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing, I will say though, I want Xbox to do better because I think Sony's getting quite arrogant right now. And because there are a bunch of things where I'm like, I kind of think they need some healthy competition.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to Nintendo news then? Because Nintendo had a few things. Well, they obviously aren't really qualified to talk much about the theme parks. So because we don't really go to those that much, except you, Ellie. I think you go to a couple of theme parks every so often.
I literally have not been to one since I was 18.
I swear you talked about. Oh yeah, you talked about your pass with Alton Towers. I misread that one.
Yeah, when I was 18.
It was Ren recently went Alton Towers with the missus.
Yes, Ren went to Alton Towers with.
What do you think? I went to Alton Towers to Claire or something.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not going all the way to Japan.
Oh yeah, Elliot's engaged to Claire. Ren's still living with his parents. Reese is running Axia.
Anyway, I'm not getting on a plane. Put it this way, they didn't impress me enough to get me on a plane to America or Japan to go to that.
No.
The next, we also gloss over a little bit. They announced Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is coming to Switch in March. Even though it looks pretty good.
So we're finding out all the Xenoblade games on one device now.
Congratulations, Nintendo's horniest fan base finally has more wank material.
Horny Xenofans. Horny Xenofans. That is
seriously, where you make the Fire Emblem fans look tame, there's something wrong with you.
I know, you can't. It's like, oh, there's fan art on Twitter. Oh crap!
Literally
every time.
Just okay, Xeno fan art, boobs.
If you ever see Xenoblade #fan art, 9 times out of 10 it is porn.
So let's discuss then the two other items that came out. So the first one we want to discuss is Nintendo released a new app for their phones, Nintendo Music. We all downloaded it.
Yep.
What do you guys think of it?
Good.
Yeah, it's all right. It's got a limited selection at the minute.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it because they have confirmed they are going to be releasing more, and already we've got a couple new albums, so they're coming out consistently.
Yeah, that surprised me because I thought we'd be waiting at least a month till we got something different. Then within a week we had Mario Wonder came to it and Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one thing I'm annoyed... I'm having Reese point out, they don't have any of the Xenoblade songs on yet, but I can imagine in March they're going to add a bunch of Xenoblade stuff.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting how much throughout the history they've gone, but the GameCube felt very underrepresented. It's only really Metroid Prime at the minute. Like, no Luigi's Mansion.
You can say the same with the GBA, as it only has Fire Emblem.
Yeah, GBA is really underrated.
Or DS, because they only have Nintendo, and strangely enough, Tomodachi Collection.
Weird choices.
I was better at least Tomodachi Life.
I do like...
Pokemon.
That would be a great soundtrack. I love Tomodachi Life on this.
Yeah, and Pokemon is some of Nintendo's best soundtracks. They've got to get more of Pokemon on there.
I will say, at least they got the game with the best Pokemon soundtrack.
What, Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah.
No, Scarlet and Violet has a good soundtrack. It's not the best soundtrack in the series.
It's one of the best.
Yeah, because as we all know, it's Sword and Shield because of the Gym Leader theme song.
No, come on. I mean, come on. The songs by Toby Fox are amazing.
So, okay, some of Toby
Fox... some of the best Pokemon songs.
Okay, Toby Fox's contributions are great. I still think overall I prefer Red and Blue soundtrack.
Because you're a nostalgia-focused hog.
Or Gen 3. Gen 3 has a great soundtrack.
Again, nostalgia-focused hog.
What about... But again, it's a good selection. I do like the fact they give you the option to have the things go on for like 15 minutes or an hour. Because they know some of us listen to video game music on YouTube. So they have played some focus on that one. Like one of my I added a whole bunch of
Yes,
songs.
I can finally listen to me channel 1 hour legally.
So like I put a few songs in my favorites already. I had songs like so I added a few. Weirdly, I think the songs I've been listening to the most have been the Animal Crossing stuff. Like particularly, I like some of the songs from KK Slider. I've been listening to a few of them on the go. The Donkey Kong Country stuff has been great. The Donkey Kong Country stuff I've been listening to loads. I mean, Mario Kart has my favorite version of the athletics theme from Yoshi's Island.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to that a lot. What do you guys think of the playlists that you get? Sort of like, I mean, I'm just going on there now, and things like you like Splatoon, or do you want something for a particular character, or are you on a break? Are you trying to get to sleep? Are you walking?
I think it's cool.
It's
like again, Spotify, up your game. This is how you do a fucking music app.
Yeah, I will admit, because that actually brings me to the next point. Because a lot of people said, why didn't Nintendo just put their songs on Spotify?
Because they're Nintendo, they want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
But it's more.
And also, if they put them on Spotify, they'd have to pay royalties to Spotify to host.
Yeah. And also on Spotify, they'll make bugger all from Spotify.
Also, here's another point. To the people making that complaint, you need an NSO account to access this app.
Which is understandable.
The only people that are going to be this interested in Nintendo Music already will likely have an NSO account.
Yeah.
It's not as if you're paying for anything you wouldn't otherwise be paying for. Like, if you have any interest in retro Nintendo, you have an NSO account. So I don't see... The weird thing is that they have been advertising it on Spotify.
I mean, either they have an NSO account, or they just have emulators on their PC.
Yeah.
Well, not for long, given the way Nintendo's going at the minute with shutting down emulators. Okay, so we all kind of like it. The only thing I will say I don't like about the Nintendo Music app, I don't like the fact that it doesn't credit the composers very well at all. Like, there's actually a really good video on Good Vibes Gaming channel where they actually go through all the songs and credit the correct composers, so that someone. But it shouldn't be on a YouTube channel, which is great. It's there, but it shouldn't be on a YouTube channel to credit the right people, especially considering that you really do rely on credits for upping your CV. It's very interesting that. The guy who did all the soundtracks for Rare, he didn't get credited in the Mario movie for the DK rap, even though
I remember that.
Even though he composed the song. So the next thing to talk about Nintendo-wise is Nintendo's president confirmed via Twitter that not only is all our accounts going forwards to the new console, the next console will also be completely backwards compatible, and all the NSO apps are going to carry over.
A piece of news that should be a surprise to no one. Everyone acted like it was a big surprise.
Can I be honest? I think it was more people were happy that it was confirmed, and I must be honest, I actually thought Nintendo might consider not doing backwards compatibility. I'm glad they did, and I'm glad we're getting... I'm also glad again, because I don't want... Like, the one that really would have bothered me more than anything is if they didn't bring forwards all those NSO apps, because I do not want to be starting my retro collections again from scratch.
Yeah.
Or you could just do what I do, not put the old consoles in the attic.
No, I'm going to say I'm going to put my Switch on display when its time is up. But I think the thing is, though, for me, I do really like the NSO apps, so I'm glad they're coming forwards. But the fact that all these things are coming forwards again, it means that I haven't got to worry about keeping my Switch going for like various games that I'm worried about losing. I'm hoping it's going to carry. He didn't specify if this was like it is forwards. Everything is going to be coming forwards, but only if it's digital. Like I'm pretty sure that's not what he meant by it, but I did find it interesting. He didn't say both physical and digital. So obviously there is. So obviously they must have found some sort of solution to make it work. Without compromising battery life, because that's what I think Nintendo's really going to concentrate on with their next successor system. It's going to be battery life. How do you guys feel about backwards compatibility?
Well, it is great, but it depends how they use it. As they could go like the DS routes of the new software in the top and then the old software in the bottom.
They could. Do you reckon there's going to be any enhancements to... This is a big thing. Will they enhance those old games? Like, are we going to finally get a performance patch for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the new system?
Probably not a performance patch, but it may just run better natively on more powerful hardware.
Yeah, I imagine that will be the case.
You don't think they're going to do something like what Xbox did with their backwards compatibility? Like with their... What they did was auto HDR... Something like that. So it's like there's not much they've done to it, but there is a little bit of an enhancement.
Probably not. If anything, the vibrancy might just be upped a little bit.
Yeah, as more I'm saying this, the more I'm thinking you're right. My other hope is I hope it's easy to transfer your save data to your new console, because there's a lot of games I want to carry over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be the case. I think it's going to be a bit of a pain.
I really hope it isn't the case, because the one I'm very concerned about is Pokemon.
It's Nintendo. It's always going to be a pain.
It wasn't that much of a pain transferring the Wii to the Wii U.
I don't know.
Plus, this from what I've gathered, this is going to be another portable system, so. I imagine. My hope is it's going to be like it's as easy to transfer as it was to transfer your save data from one Switch to another. You know, like when we got our OLEDs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still just laughing a little bit about you saying I'm going to display my Switch once this retires. Like just hang it on a wall when the house gets come over. Look at this, folks. This is what I used to beat Breath of the Wild. Why is it so sticky? Yeah, I also play a lot of Xenoblade.
There's well, the thing is, I've got a room that I keep a bunch of my old systems in.
Yeah, it's called an attic.
It's not an attic. It's in my next to my living room. But the thing that, as I say, I'm glad that they confirmed backwards compatibility, but I want to know how exactly more about what that's going to entail. But it at least puts to bed the room whether or not it is actually going to happen. We know on some form we are getting backwards compatibility on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask, when do you reckon the Switch 2 gets revealed, and when do you reckon it releases?
No, I don't. It's so difficult to tell at the minute.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to tell. I think the only thing we can be sure of is it's probably going to be revealed in March.
Yeah,
they say that the latest.
They've got to do it by March, because they said fiscal year to their investors would be when the reveal would happen.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they said on Twitter as well that they're going to be announcing it at some point, during the build up to March.
But the fiscal year ends in March, so.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why.
Yeah.
I'm not refuting you. I'm saying that's when it's going to, like, join the build up to that.
Yeah, that's when the build up's going to happen. So, I mean, they could do it next month to really surprise everyone, but I don't think they will. Because it's really hard to generate headlines in December at the best of times.
and they probably want to keep making people buy new Switches for Christmas anyway.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might put people off. Just say, I'll hold on X amount of months instead.
Especially since
I think people are thinking that anyway.
Especially since it looks like the Switch is going to pass the Nintendo DS in terms of sales. And that would be...
Has it not already?
No, it's not quite.
No.
It's just off.
Yeah, because it's currently behind that on the PS2.
Yeah, those are the two consoles it's behind at the minute. It's behind the DS and the PS2. So, Okay, I mean, that poses another question. Do you think the Switch outsells the DS?
Probably not.
I'm going to go with Elliot. I don't think it does.
I think it's a bit
No.
too late.
I think if it had a little bit longer, it might have, but I don't think it now. I think they're on the downturn. The console sales are down. I don't see them finding 4 million more units shifted. Unless they find a market that they really haven't touched and aggressively market there. Like, say, for example, it suddenly gets an uptick of sales in China.
Yeah, the only way I can see that happening is if they have like a special edition for something coming out.
And they don't have any games really coming now that would do that. Like, they're not going to do it for Xenoblade X. They're not going to do it for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Yeah.
And Metroid Prime 4 is going to launch the new system, so I don't think they want to do it for that.
We think.
Yeah, so the Switch currently is third place. It's 8 million behind the DS and 14 behind the PlayStation 2.
So
Yeah, that then.
So what do you reckon? Does Elliot? I'm interested in your comment though. We think that Metroid Prime 4 launches the new system.
We just don't fully know yet.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we're speculating at this point in time. I think it's higher. I think it's very likely it will launch the new system because it's got a 2025 release date at the minute. And
So they announced that they're delaying it again and restarting.
I wouldn't say restarting, but I imagine they are going to. I wouldn't be surprised if they said, no, we're going to have to delay it. It will now be 2026.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't. Tell me you wouldn't be surprised if they said, actually, we might need a bit longer. It's going to be 2026.
Yeah, I see it happening.
Yeah, but I reckon next year we'll see the new. We'll probably see early next year what the Switch 2 looks like. And probably a 3D Mario to go alongside it.
Yeah, and if Prime 4 is delayed, Nintendo will probably just put like a Federation Force on NSO.
I don't think we're going to get a 3D Mario at launch.
Oh, very interesting. You don't...
I think we're going to get one in like the first 2 years, but I feel like we would have seen something of that by now.
But I find it interesting that that the Mario Odyssey team has clearly been working on something, and we still...
Don't forget, obviously, that wasn't a launch title.
No, but it was very close to launch. And I think they want something big to do it over. So what do you reckon would be big enough to really get people to immediately jump on Switch 2?
I mean, Metroid Prime 4.
I don't think it does. I think Metroid Prime 4 is a very small ceiling.
Metroid Prime is the big Metroid franchise, and it's a game we've been waiting for half a decade for.
But Metroid Prime 4, I think, the most that's selling 3 million at most lifetime sales. It's not. There is a large contingent of Nintendo fans that don't play Metroid.
Yeah, so Odyssey came out 7 months after the Switch launch.
Yeah, it was October, as I recall.
Yeah,
I don't see it being being a Mario game.
What do you reckon, though? Here's a weird one. What do you reckon of Mario Kart? What do you reckon about Mario Kart 9? Is that a possibility?
I'd say it's more likely than 3D Mario.
Well, even though they just do a remaster of 8 Deluxe.
Because you don't...
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 2 Red Shell Boogaloo.
I can imagine them doing a couple...
I think... I don't think Mario Kart needs as much build-up as a 3D Mario does.
What about Pokemon Legends ZA? Because we haven't seen much of that. Does that launch the new system as a cross-gen title?
If not launch, it's a couple months after.
Yeah, because that's got a 2025 release date, and I do not imagine... And when Pokemon Company says something's coming out, as we've learned with Scarlet and Violet, it's coming out.
It also depends how much it's been delayed after those leaks happened.
They're not going to delay it any further. They've got trading cards coming to tie in with it, and that's the biggest thing they make their money on. They are not going to delay a trading card set for a game.
Yeah. You know that, guys, is coming out. Does Pokemon is gay?
I'm standing by. I think it's a 3D Mario and it's going to launch the system, and Pokemon will be Mario and Metroid launch. Pokemon a couple of months after is my prediction.
I think if it's anything Mario related, it'll be a Mario Kart. I don't see it being a 3D Mario.
Reese, your opinion?
Yeah, I agree with Elliot. I think it's too soon for 3D Mario.
Okay, well, cool. We'll
Not to mention again, 3D Mario games often have more build up as well.
Yeah,
Like
because
when
it's a big event.
like we got the announcement of Mario Odyssey, I think at the Switch event at the Switch event a couple of months before that came out, and that game didn't come out till months later.
Oh, hang on. It got revealed in January and it came out in October. So that's...
Yeah, and the Switch came out 2 months after that event. So I think we need a bit more build up to it.
I think you could sell a Mario on a few... Look how well Wonder sold, and that only had a couple of months.
That was a 2D Mario. 2D and 3D, big difference.
I still think you could do a 6-month marketing cycle for 3D Mario and it would work. But we'll know in a couple of months. We will know in a couple of months when this thing gets revealed. Would you say the one thing I want to leave it on is, has the fact that it's backwards compatible increased your likelihood or your wanting to get a Switch 2 at launch?
No, it's about the same.
Well, it increases it for me because I was like being able to carry my collection forward, rather than being like relegated to an older system and locked off.
It's increased mine, although I want to know... The one thing I want to know really is about what's transferring of save data is going to be like, particularly for me with Pokemon, because I want to bring over my Pokemon from Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet to the new system.
And also the big thing for you, Cal, if you still be able to scan amiibos on the new system.
That's actually genuinely... I mean, I won't be upset too much if they get rid of amiibo functionality, because this, even if they do get rid of that, at least they're nice-looking collectibles. But I would be a bit disappointed if amiibo functionality disappeared entirely.
Yeah, it just so happens to take up 80% of your current house. It's amiibo.
His sexual will be useless.
Don't remind me. I've still got to put up a couple of the shelves. Half of my museum room is taken up by him.
And he wonders why we make fun of him. Like, he does it to himself. He asks, "Why do you make fun of us?" And yet just casually admits, "Oh yeah, I've got an amiibo wall, by the way."
You've got to have a good display for these things.
You don't really. Mine are just in a box.
Oh, you got to put them on display. They're brilliant figurines.
No, they stay in a box. They only take them out on occasionally to watch them fight each other in Smash Bros.
Oh, I scan them in pretty much any game that has amiibo functionality.
Of course you fucking would.
Yeah.
I need any advantage I can get.
Yeah, because I'm pretty much sure most players now just get one of those cheap things offline that just has all the amiibo RFID tags on it.
Oh, but that's
and just scan that.
Oh, but that's
I remember one of my mates getting like a bunch of just Zelda cards that have amiibo scanners in for Breath of the Wild.
Oh, but that's really boring. I just love being able to get the figurine out and actually scan it that way.
Well, you forget the difference between them and you. You're bad with money.
And on that note, we'll move on. Next month, we're back with Anime Amigos in a couple of weeks. Where we're talking about bad anime endings.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back with the last unprofessional for 2024 in early December.
Thank God this shit's ending.
Probably will be probably be in mid-December, because we're going to save it for after the Game Awards to talk about that.
Yeah.
So
I don't think gaming related. We'll be doing our what to buy people for Christmas.
Yeah, that's going to be at the next post-diagnostic support group that Axia is running. So get down to Chester Racecourse if you were diagnosed with us for that one.
You'll just hear our viewers in Australia immediately booking tickets for that. Immediately booking plane tickets. I must go. The nerds are speaking.
So we'll see you then. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.